For Cabinet. I'm Councillor Ashley Baxter, the Leader of the Council and Chairman of the Cabinet meeting. Alongside me is the Deputy Leader and the Vice Chairman, Councillor Paul Stokes. On my right is Karen Bradford, the Chief Executive, and on her right is the Assistant Director, brackets, Governance and Public Protection, close brackets, and Monitoring Officer, Graham Watts. Please do ensure your phones are switched to silent or to off. I've not been notified of a fire alarm practice, but if you do hear a fire alarm, please enter by the closest available exit and assemble on the green opposite the building on St Peter's Hill. If you want to raise a question or a comment, please indicate by raising your hand. The meeting is being recorded and can be watched as a live stream via the SKDC Public Eye website. After the meeting, it can be viewed as a recording. Please note that the iDocs software renewal item, if agreed, is not subject to call-in due to the urgency of a contract renewal. The relevant notice has been published and can be made available to members of the public who wish to see it. When we get to item 8, the award of contract for security services, I will move from the Chair that we defer the item to allow a review of the procurement process that has been undertaken so far. Backbenchers are welcome, or other councillors outside the Cabinet are welcome to the meeting. I'm pleased to welcome Councillor Selby, the Chairman of the Environment Committee, Overview Scrutiny Committee. I would remind everybody that as far as possible, please stick to the items on the agenda and stick to the point. Try and make your points brief, and I'm including me in that because I have been known to wander in the past, as I am now. I would like, at the beginning of the meeting, to tell you about the Grantham Festival of Community in our newly refurbished marketplace in Grantham. There are activities on Saturday the 19th of October. I'd also like to thank everybody who participated in Lincolnshire Day events in Grantham and across the district on the 1st of October. Welcome, Councillor Harrison. So, I'll now move through today's agenda, beginning with a public open forum. Has anybody, since we first enabled this as a right to people across South Kesteven about a week ago, has anybody taken us up on that? Nobody has yet, but they're welcome to in the future. The apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies for absence? I think we're all here. Minutes of the previous meeting. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes of the previous meeting, or would anyone like to move that they are? Thank you, Councillor Cleaver. Councillor Moran proposed and seconded that they are a true and accurate record. All those in favour, please. All those against? All those who are abstaining? That's, I think that's unanimous. Did you vote in favour, Phil? Yes, great. I thought so. That's unanimous. The next item is disclosure of interest. Does anybody have any relevant interests to declare at this meeting? If not, then I'll move to item 5. Now, item 5 includes some items which are on pink papers. If you wish to discuss any of the issues which are related to the pink papers, then please let us know, and so that we can go into closed session if we need to. Mr. Watts, you look...
So I think the pink papers that have been circulated to members are actually, they don't need to be in private session, so they are included in the public pack, even though they say confidential on them. So there's nothing in that item that requires us to go into private session. So apologies for the confusion.
Thank you for that. On the pink papers, paragraph 1.2 says, this report should only be published with the consent of the lead officer due to the sensitive information it contains.
I understand the consent has been given, Leader.
Okay. Well, in that case, we can talk about what we like. I'm not encouraging you to do that, but the agenda item is contract award for kitchen and bathroom replacements in council social housing dwellings. Councillor Moran.
Thank you, Leader. This report seeks approval to award a contract to Grattan Construction Limited for replacement kitchens and bathrooms in council-owned social housing dwellings. The recommendation is that Cabinet approve the award of a contract to Grattan Construction Limited for the replacement of kitchens and bathrooms in South Kesteven District Council social housing with an annual contract value up to 1.325 million for a period of 2 years, with the option to extend for a further 1 year plus 1 year. The 2024-25 HRA capital programme includes a budget allocation of 1.843 million for replacement kitchens and bathrooms. The Council is in the process of completing stock condition surveys on its council housing stock. The surveys will identify properties which require replacement, kitchen and or bathrooms as they have reached the end of their life. The procurement opportunity was tendered as a mini competition using a framework run by Efficiency East Midlands. 2 bids were received, which were evaluated based on 60% quality and 40% price. The overall score for Grattan Construction Limited was 84.48%, compared with the second bidder, who was awarded a score of 78.01. This contract will cover the proposed kitchens and bathrooms for the next financial year, which is estimated at 261 kitchens and 291 bathrooms, which is a significant uplift in previous years. This contract actually overlaps with our existing contractor by a period of about 6 months. So it'll mean for 6 months we'll actually have 2 contractors both working the way through the extensive list of properties to be renovated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moran. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Councillor Dilks.
I just thoroughly welcome, Leader, if I may, the new contract and the fact that, you know, we know that this administration, the legacy that we inherited, was, you know, a big backlog of these things that needed doing, and that whenever we have a property coming up for rental, re-rental, traditionally 1 in 4 of those properties would need major renovation, such as new kitchen or new bathroom. That's gone up in recent years to over 50%. So I really welcome the new push that and the uplift that we've got in bringing, upgrading, hundreds of these new kitchens and new bathrooms to our residents, of which we are the landlord. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dilks. I echo your sentiments. Councillor Stokes.
Yeah, I obviously echo the same sentiments. I think it's great that we've got to the point where we're letting yet another contract. Just one point that I wondered if somebody could probably answer or find out an answer for. Is there a reason why we're only getting 2 active tenders on something that's quite appealing? And is it something to do with the procurement packages that we're undertaking? Is there any, or is it just that there's so much work people aren't interested? I don't know, but it just seems a very nice piece of work, that well-paid work, and we only get 2 tenders.
Councillor Moran.
Yeah, we did touch on this briefly just before the meeting. It's a bit of a mystery, really, and last year I believe there was a roofing contract which actually attracted no bidders whatsoever. So we had a look at sort of re-specifying what we needed in order to get some interest. But it's a conversation that I think needs to be had within the senior team, within housing, as to whether these frameworks are working the way we want them to, or whether there's a different type of framework that we can look at to attract more interest. But it's noted, and I will get back to you, our Cabinet, generally, on where we are. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Moran, and thanks for your question, Paul. Any further comments on this issue? If not, then I assume that you're proposing, Councillor Moran. Would anyone like to second? Councillor Dilks. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 6 is It's you again, Councillor Moran. However, we have another set of pink papers. Are these pink papers? Okay, these pink papers are printed on pink, but are not necessarily confidential. So I don't know if anyone was going to comment on the content of the pink papers, but feel free. Councillor Moran.
Thank you. Yeah, another contract, quite a bit smaller than the previous one, but no less important. Excuse me. This report seeks approval to award a contract to ABCA, Systems for Safety of Life Systems. The recommendation is that Cabinet approve the award of a contract to ABCA with an annual contract value of up to £40,000 for a period of 3 years with the option to extend for a further 2 years. The 24-25 HRA budget, revenue budget includes an amount of 1.2 million for compliance works, which can be used to fund the cost of this contract. The Safety of Life Systems contract will include the installation of detection of fire systems, fire alarms, emergency lighting and servicing of fire extinguishers. The procurement opportunity was tendered as a mini competition using a framework run by Efficiency East Midlands for fire and intruder alarms and fire protection equipment. 3 bids were received, which were evaluated based on 50% quality and 50% price. The overall score for ABCA Systems was 82.07%, compared with the second bidder, who was awarded 75.2%, and the final bidder, who was awarded a score of 58.54%. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moran. For the benefit of the tape, safety of life systems broadly equates to fire alarm systems, broadly. That's what we're talking about. Does anyone have any questions or comments? If not, then I'll assume that you're proposing this. Councillor Moran, do we have a seconder? Councillor Rayside. All those in favour? All those against? All those abstentions? Thank you very much. That's passed. Agenda item 7, the famous emerging economic development strategy. It is my absolute pleasure to bring the South Kesteven economic development strategy to Cabinet with a recommendation that it is adopted. Enabling economic development is obviously one of the priorities of the corporate plan. It is important that we support a dynamic, resilient and growing local economy to benefit our communities. A strategic approach to enabling growth is a golden thread running through the corporate plan as well as our local plan and also the economic development strategy as set out. The strategy is arranged around 5 areas of focus, which are business and job creation, skills development, inclusive growth and regeneration, inward investment, and enhancing South Kesteven's tourism and visitor economy offer. The strategy sets out how our commitments about how we will work with businesses, residents, the local voluntary sector and other stakeholders to achieve our ambitions. The strategy is underpinned by an action plan, Appendix 3 of your papers, which provides a series of actions and timescales for delivery. The strategy has been through various consultations with the public, local businesses, stakeholders, as well as with members, particularly with the Finance and Economic Overview Scrutiny Committee, who have held 2 workshops, I believe, on this particular issue. We have listened to feedback, and I'm sure you will agree the result is an excellent strategy, and we can use it to promote the district as a prime location for investment. It sends a message to the government, to investors and interested parties that the Council has a positive approach towards managing and delivering growth in the long term. And just to put some meat on the bones of that, we have got some real gems across the district in terms of tourism. We've got a network of stately homes, of Grimsthorpe Castle, Belton House, and on the edges we've got Beaver Castle and Burley House, and we have businesses investing. I was particularly pleased to phone Press Glass, who have moved into a vacant factory premises in Market Deeping and have put their logo on the side of the building and look forward to more jobs in Market Deeping as a result. As you know, we're turning the market around in Grantham thanks to our staff, particularly Craig and Kay, but also with the involvement of councillors, including Tim Harrison. We have other ambitions, not just in terms of businesses and trade, but also in training and the charitable sector and so on. It's a great place to live, work and visit, as it says in our corporate plan, and I'm delighted that this economic strategy shows how we're going to move on to the next stage of it. And therefore, I'm delighted to recommend and propose that this strategy be adopted. Do I have any questions or comments? If not, then I'll look for a seconder, which I have in Councillor Stokes, and all those in favour, please. That is unanimous, and so after more than probably at least 2 years since the inception to the conclusion, we now have an economic development strategy, and it will not sit on the shelf. We will be measuring ourselves against it. So, without further ado, because I did say that we shouldn't be waffling, the award of contract, agenda item 8. Agenda item 8 has been withdrawn, as I said at the start of the meeting. But Councillor Cleeve, you're not off the hook. Agenda item 9, iDocs software procurement. Or will it be for Councillor Dilks? Sorry, Richard, you are off the hook. Councillor Dilks, you are now on the hook. Please tell us about iDocs software.
I was going to say the fish are not biting, but maybe they are. Thank you, Leader. As members will be aware, there is a clear commitment in the corporate plan, our corporate plan, to ensure that this council is an effective council. So the mission is to deliver trusted and high quality and value for money services that meet the needs and expectations of our residents. So with that in mind, I'm delighted to invite the Cabinet to renew for the next 5 years the iDocs software contract. This is the system that we use to contain the planning and building control registers of applications and permissions. Additionally, the Council's land charges service also uses the software to ensure that the Council can produce land charges surveys for our residents when required. The iDocs software also includes the use of Uniform, which is a case management database. That contains a number of modules that support the handling of planning applications, enforcement cases, planning appeals, tree preservation orders, as well as building control applications and dangerous structures. Provision for the renewal of this contract is in the indicative budget for the 2025-26 and onwards budgets, and I'm sure you'll wish to support me in agreeing to renew the contract for a further 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dilks. Do we have any questions or comments? If not, then I'll look for a seconder. Thank you. Thank you. All those in favour, please. That is again unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Rayside will introduce agenda item 10, the revised contaminated land strategy.
Thank you, Leader. The purpose of this report is to brief Cabinet on Council's requirements to have a contaminated land strategy, along with providing details of the updated strategy and the consultation responses for Cabinet approval. Under Part 2A of the Environmental Protection Act 1990, SKDC has gained regulatory duties and powers relating to contaminated land. The provisions of Part 2A came into force on the 1st of April 2000. I'm sure you're aware, South Kesteven District Council has had a published contaminated land strategy since 2001, with its latest revision being in 2010, so I'm sure we could agree that it's good we're updating it. The strategy sets out how South Kesteven District Council will identify and deal with contaminated land. The minor revision of the strategy has been made to update it so it reflects the existing position across the district and ensure that legislation, addresses, and all other details are up to date and current. There have not been any major changes to the legislation leading to the change in our approach. In relation to contaminated land within the district of South Kesteven, we do not currently have any known contaminated land sites on the land register. There were previously 2 sites identified, however, those have been remediated, and the contaminated land is identified and managed through the planning. If you want to draw your eyes to page 161, under pollutant linkage, you'll see what class as the definition as contaminated land. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Thank you for the report, and thank you for the presentation. Do we have any comments or questions about the revised contaminated land strategy? If not, then I'll say thanks to you, Raya, and also to the officers involved in producing the report. We did do a consultation. We didn't get, I mean, it's not the most gripping topic in the world, and we had, I'd say, a very low number of responses. Happily, nobody disagreed with the content of the plan. So that sounds like almost unanimity across the district. As with all our consultations, it was on the council website. On the front page of the website has a button marked consultations for people who want to engage. And we did write to stakeholders who are listed within the report, residents. We didn't write to all residents, obviously, but parish councils, the Environment Agency, who did respond, county council, and the planners at SKDC. So we've done our best to consult, and people seem to be, there seems to be a consensus around the content of our revised strategy, so that's great. So I assume you're proposing it, Raya? Yes.
Yes.
And you're seconding it, Councillor Baker. So all those in favour? Thank you. Once again, unanimous. And I believe that leads us on to the Cabinet Work Plan, a lively and active document which can change at a moment's notice, but the current iteration is in front of you. Do any members or officers have any comments on the forward plan? No? That's a welcome change. So, yeah, if you do find that you have anything to add on to the Cabinet Forward Plan, obviously let us know and we will do our best to accommodate them. And with that, we move to items for information. I've mentioned the Festival of Community already in this meeting. Do we have any questions from councillors? No. Well, and no further questions from the Cabinet, so with that I will end the meeting. Thank you all for your attendance.